actually are not that difficult because it deals with only the position of the consonants. So at different position, we have learned the suffix, the post-suffix, the prefix, and today we're going to talk about two of the other affix morphemes, which are the head joint and the subjoined letters. So most of the things that we're dealing till this point has to do with memorizing the numbers of things and where what are the different types, or what are the how many of each do we have. So therefore till this point, most of the concepts revolves around the idea of understanding that how many of something, what and how many of something. So therefore, today we're also going to talk about words and names. And today we're also going to understand this concept. So we're going to use one of the fundamental logical tool used in Buddhist epistemology, which is the classification of groups. So it's the classification of so it's a tool that helps you analyze the relation between any two phenomena based on the classification relation. And these are of four types. The first one is the mutually inclusive classification. The second one is the three of a kind, and the third one is the four of a kind, and the final one is mutually exclusive classification. So today in this class, if we're able to cover both name and words, or a part of words, then we will discuss this tool, and this tool will play a very important role in analyzing the entire text that we're going to study. So we're going to use this. So as we move on with this text, we are going to introduce some of the fundamental logical tools under the Tibetan Buddhist epistemology to analyze this text and to understand some of the groups, subgroups, relation between the groups and the subgroups. So today we might be able to introduce this in this class. So so if when introducing these subgroups, if you feel that you're unable to pronounce them correctly, then please make sure that you do notify me in the group, and I will read it in the group. And listen to the recording that I have sent of the Tree of Excellent Speech, two recordings. First one was slower audio. The second one is the faster audio. And if you still feel that the slower one is still too fast, then make sure that you tell me. I will record one which is even more slower than this. Okay, so the fourth affix morpheme is known as the subjoined letter. So in Tibetan, we say me dok chen ki yigi. Me dok means something that is joined, something that is joined. So joined, me means from the below. So something that's joined at the below or from the below. Me dok chen ki yigi, meaning four subjoined letters. So there are four consonants which can be used as subjoined letters, meaning which functions as a part of name in which the particular consonant is joined to the foundation of name. So please remember, only two particular terms that we're going to use here for the Mingxi. It's either foundation of name or it's name basis. So name base or foundation of name. These are the only two terms we're going to use throughout the course for Mingxi. Ming, name, Shi, base, or Ming Shi, foundation of name. So, so these affix morpheme, which are the subjoined letters, what they do is they actually join to a foundation of name in a way that they join from the bottom, so sometimes also known as the footer letter. So there are they are also known as footer letter. Footer in the understanding that they are used as the foot of a letter, or known as subjoined letter. Me tok, me meaning below or sub. Tok means to join from below. Chin means possessing, meaning these are the 4 consonants which can be used as subjoined letters. And these 4 consonants are ya, ra, la, and wa. So the 4 consonants which can function as a subjoined letter is ya, ra, la, wa. So now the question may arise. You may say that, oh, but you just told us a few classes ago that ya and wa are considered to be pure foundation of name, and this is true. The subjoined letter and the headjoined letter, though may be considered as a fixed morpheme, they are exclusive when we consider the group of 4, which are the foundation of name, the prefix, the suffix, and the post-suffix letters. So therefore, they come under a fixed morpheme, but in a different group. They don't come in the group which is inclusive of these 4. And therefore, the pure foundation of name is on the basis that these 2, which is ya and wa, are not functioning as either of the remaining 3 affix, which are the prefix, suffix, and post-suffix. And it doesn't have to do anything with their function as the subjoined letter. So this is a clarification towards a doubt that may arise, or a contradiction that may arise, because we have already said that it's a pure foundation of name, and now suddenly it functions as an affix morpheme. So therefore, understand that subjoined and headjoined letters are affix morphemes, which are exclusive of the group of the 4, which are prefix, foundation of name, name base. You can use either of these terms, suffix and post-suffix letters. So the 4 subjoined letters are ya, ra, la, and wa. And the way you pronounce it is, if the subjoined letter is ya, so you pronounce it as ya tak. Tak is the so tok is more of a it's more of a case where it becomes a sort of participle form. So it becomes a participle form, tok, which is also somewhat could be understood as a perfect tense. So therefore, it's a participle form, whereas tak is more like a present. So ya tak means joining ya to a foundation of name. So ya tak, ra tak, la tak, and wa tak. So ya tak, ra tak, la tak, wa tak. So these are the cases, and sometimes you may also see, and these are mostly in the case of mantras, that you will see that there are letters which may come below, which are normally not considered to be a subjoined letter, but you may see, and one of the more common ones is the right. It's the ha, the more common one, and you may have seen this with the usage here, like this. So you see that there's ha, which functions as the subjoined letter. So therefore, the subjoined letters that usually we have are the four, which are ya, ra, la, and wa. And these are pronounced as yatak, ratak, latak, and watak. So these are the four subjoined letters. Now the usage of ya as a subjoined letter. So we must understand that not all the consonants will have ya as a subjoined letter. There are only seven. There are only seven consonants or consonants which have ya as the subjoined letter, and these seven are ka, kha, kha, pa, 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 ma. So these are the seven consonants which have ya as a subjoined letter. And the way you pronounce this is first you pronounce the foundation of name, which in this case is ka, so ka, and then you pronounce the subjoined letter yatak. So it becomes kayatak. So you pronounce it as kayatak. So the when you combine the two sound, it is kayatak kya. So kayatak kyang kyang. Kyang has two meaning. One, it is one of the connective particles of the ornamental and inclusive case, which we will study. And another thing is kyang also refers to an animal, as it's like a zebra. So kyang ka kayatak kya. So ki kayatak kya, which means dog. Ka kayatak kya. Kayatak kya naru kyona kun. Kun means to wear. Pa payatak cha. To payatak cha ta che, which means to analyze. Pa payatak cha. Payatak cha naru chok. Payatak cha naru chok kasa chok. Chok means direction. Pa payatak cha. Payatak cha na chang. Payatak chang a chang, which means north. Mayatak nya shimju nyu kashimju nyuku, which refers to a plant, or sometimes also the bamboo nyuku. Or so these are the seven cases where you have ya as the subjoined letter. Kayatak, 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 payatak, 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 and mayatak. So these are the seven cases where you have ya as the subjoined letter. Now, 11 cases in which you have ra as the subjoined letter, ratak. So, karatak, karatak ta, po karatak tala tal. Tal means to extract a meaning or to make a reference of a meaning from somewhere. Ka, karatak, karatak ta, karatak ta kyukutim masatim, which refers to law. Ka, karata, karatata. So sometimes you may hear it as karata da, which is incorrect. A da will only happen if either there is a prefix or you have a head-joined letter. This is karatata. Karatata na to kasato. So it means friend. Ta, taratata, taratata. And in some cases, you will hear taratatra. So tra is used normally when we are trying to bring the sound from a Sanskrit into Tibetan. Mostly you will hear this in mantras, tra, for example, trasa, and then certain name. For example, the text itself is called Mulatimsha Namaha. So Tim, which means Timsha means 30. So therefore, tra, tha, tarata, tarata, tha, tarata, tha. So tarata kyutika tik, tarata kyutika tik, tik, tik. So these are some sounds that may be produced to represent sounds which are not present in Tibetan, which needs to be used as a transliteration for other languages. Then we have ta, tarata, ta, tarata, ta, tarata, kyukutin, tin. Tin means to be grateful. Pa, parata, parata, ta. Sapata parata takyukutin, which means the cloud. Pa, parata, parata ta. O parata tashakutul, which refers to the machinery, something that turns. And then we have pa, parata, parata ta. O parata tanarutoka tok. Parata ta. O parata tanarutoka tok. Dog refers to nomad. Sa, sarata, sarata sa, sarata sasa, sarata sasa, se. Se is the honorific of pu, which means son. Normally used for prince or the son of certain higher practitioners. So se. So also, if you're referring to the son of your root guru, that could be known as se. Ha, harata. So this is actually a little bit of a difficult sound. Normally it's harata ra. Harata ra kyukurilla shil. Shil means whole, not a piece of something or a fraction of something, but a whole of something. So shil. Now we have 6 cases where we have la. So the 11 cases where we have ra as a subjoined letter is ka, 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 ta, 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 pa, 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 sa, ha. Now the 6 cases where we have la as the subjoined letter, lata, true. The 6 consonants where we have la as the subjoined letter is ka, kalata, kalatalla, kalatalla shanchulu, which refers to the nagas, the naga, the in Sanskrit we say naga. So one of the more higher rebirth in the animal realm, the nagas, lu. Ka, kalata, kalatalla, kalatalla narullo, kalatalla narullo kalok, lok, which is electricity. Pa, palata, palatalla, palatalla, malama. Lama, which refers to the root guru. The actual meaning of lama means someone who is at the highest, that there is no one higher than that someone is called lama. Salata, salatata, salatata wa tawa, which has 2 meanings. One is month, the other one is moon. Ra, ralata, ralatalla, ralatalla, ralatalla shakilunga, which means wind or air. Sa, salata, salatalla, po salatalla narullo, po salatalla narullo palop, which means to teach. So these are the 6 cases where you use la as a where you have la as a subjoin. So these are the 6 consonants which have la as the subjoin letter. Ka, kha, ku, pa, sa, ra, sa. Now wa as the subjoin letter. So understand that in some cases, like in the case of wa, there may not be a significant difference in the sound. There may not be a significant difference in the sound, but the reason why we use this particular subjoin letter is to help us with the spelling. Sometimes we have 2 things which have exactly the same sound. And if we don't have this particular subjoin letter, it becomes very confusing. So therefore, we use this particular subjoin letter to increase the variation in the spelling of the words which are of the same sound. So those which are having the same sound. So therefore, in these cases, you may see that the sound are not changed. And the other reason why is because wa is a it's under the category of being a feminine sound. So we have the strong masculine sound, we have the weak masculine sound, we have the strong feminine sound, we have the weaker feminine sound, we have the more weaker feminine sound, and then we have the weakest feminine sound. So wa comes under the it comes under the weaker feminine sound. Thus, it has a very difficult time to manipulate the sound of the foundation of name, and therefore you may not see a difference in the sound, and that is the case here. It doesn't change the sound very much, but it helps us in creating variation in the spelling so that we have more variation in the spelling, and it does not complicate things when we have 2 exactly same sounding words. So the first one is, so we have 12 consonants which have wa as a subjoint letter. Ka, ka wata, ka wata ka. So you see there is actually a almost no change in the sound with the addition of wa, but it creates a new spelling. So that's the reason why we are using this particular subjoint letter, ka wata ka, kai, which is one of the vocative consonant. It's a vocative particle used to call someone kai, which is used for kai is used for more or like someone that's either same as you or someone that's in the circle of your colleagues. Kai. Then we have ka, kawata ka, kata. So kata, which refers to the white scarf as well as the crow. Then we have ka, kawata, kawata ka. Then we have nya, nyawata, nya, which is the fish. Then we have ta, tawata, tawata tanga satang, which means clear. For example, clear water. If we have a clear water that is not muddy, we can, when we look from the top, we can see the bottom of the river or the water stream. So it's tang, which is clear. Then we also have windows or windows which are clear, glasses which are clear. Ca, cawasu, cawasu, cawa, cawa, which means heat or what? Hot or heat. If we only have caosu ca, that refers to salt, and we have shawasu, shawata. So the thing is that we can pronounce this in two ways. It can be pronounced as shawata or shawasu. So wasur, wasur. So sur, because it has a shape like a triangle, which is known as sursum. So wasur or wata. So both of these are correct. You can either say shawasur or you can say shawata. Let me just write it here. So it could be wasur or wata. So you can say shawasur or shawata. Both of these are correct. Then shawasur or shawata, manarmo shamo, had sawasur. Then we have ra or sawata or rawasur or rawata. Rawata chanarjo rajo, which means horn. Lawata or lawasu wasur. Lawa, which is a name of an animal in Tibet. It's like a mountain goat. Then we have shawata or shawasur. Shawasur sha wa shawa, which is deer, the animal. And then hawasur or hawata. Hawasur, hashang, which means monk. So these are the 12 cases of consonants, of where we use wa as a subjoined letter. Ka, ka, nya, ta, ca, sha, sa, ra, la, sha, ha. So these are the 12 consonants with which we use the watak, wa, as a subjoined letter. They may not change the sound drastically, but they have the property of creating new spellings, so that the words which have same sound may not be confused with each other. So they may have similar sound, but due to the difference in the spelling with the addition of the watak, certain type of confusion may be cleared with the spellings. Okay, so these are the 12 cases with wa as subjoined letter. Now the head joined letters, meaning the word that are joined from the top. Sekto. Sek means to stack. To means to connect. So to connect by stacking it on one letter. So by placing it above the foundation of name. Sekto. So these are affix morpheme which function as a part of a name that is joined on consonant as head or crown. So also known as head letter or head joint or crown letter sometimes, because it's crowned on the foundation of name. There are three consonants that are that can function as a head joint letter. These are ra, rango, go meaning the head. So la, lago, and sa, sago, rago, lago, and sago. So there are 12 cases where we have ra as the head joint letter. Rago iki chungni. So chungni, which means 12. So rago, which means head joint letter. So there are 12 consonants which have ra as the head joint letter. So the first one is ka. So the difference between the subjoined letters and the head joint letter is that in these head joint letters, the actual head joint letter is being pronounced first, and then the particular consonant which has that crown letter is pronounced later, followed by tak. So rakatak. So similar to the subjoined letter, where we understood that the subjoined letters are pronounced after the consonant to which it is joined from the below. The same logic is used here, where the consonant to which the head joined letter is used, the consonant is connected to the head joined letter from below. Therefore, it is pronounced later. So instead of saying karata, it becomes rakata. So the first consonant is ka, rakata ka. Rakata kang pa, which means foot. Then ka, rakata ka. Ka is the saddle that we have on the horse. Then we have rangata nga, ngama, which means the tail. Rachata ja, rachata ja, which means after. So we have jinjuk, which means suffix letter. Then we have ranyata nya, ranyata nya, which means to be found or to find something. Ratata, ratatata, ratatatakata patapa, which means permanent phenomena. Ratata, ratatata, ratatatanaruto, which means stone. Then we have ranata, ranatana, ranatanawa, nawa. So then we have so it is nawa is also a name of an animal which is found in Tibet. It's like an antelope. Then we have ratata, rabata, sorry, rabataba, ralatala pasalap, palap, which means wave in the ocean, or tide. Ramatama, which means wound, any wound that may happen on the flesh. So that's ma. Ratatata, watsawa, which means the root. So we have Tsawe Lama, which means root guru. Then ratzata, satse, which means chemicals. Ze means chemicals. In certain case, it also means element or the particle, but in most of the context, it means chemicals. So these are the 12 cases where we have ra as the head joined letter. Ka, ka, nga, cha, nya, ta, ta, na, pa, ma, za, za. So the 11 cases where we have sa as the head joined letter. So please understand that most of these has just to do with the knowing how many and what are the consonants, and with which consonant a certain type of head joint or subjoined letter is used with. So this is the only thing that needs to be understood with this particular chapter. So there isn't a lot of concept involving this. So therefore, I'm actually going quite fast with all of these. So there are 11 cases where we have sa as the head joined letter. So 11 consonant. First one is ka, sakataka, kul. Kul means to command someone to do something. Second is ka, sakataka, naruko, which means the door. Then we have sa, sangatanga, lanarlo. Nga means before or earlier. Nga lo means the previous year. Nga means previous in this context. Lo means year. So nga lo means previous year. Sanyatanya na nyen. So nyen means something that is it's also used for the ear. Another thing is it's used for something that sounds good, something that sounds melodious. So nyen. Satatata khatak, which is tiger. Satatata. So there are two dots. I'll make sure that I'll make sure to erase this. Satatata which means group. Sanatana naruno, which means vessel. Sapatapa shapyupun, which means siblings, relatives, siblings. Sapatapa la belpa, which means frog. Samatama na menkang, which means hospital. Satatatsa la tsalwa, which means to search or to find. So these are the 11 cases where we have sa as the head-joined letter. Ka, kha, nga, nya, ta, tha, na, pa, pa, ma, za. So these are the 11 cases. Now the 10 cases or the 10 consonants which have la as the head-joined letter. La, lakataka, shakukukha, sakukpa, kukpa. Kukpa means someone who cannot speak. Lakataka, ngakang, passion puka puk kang puk, which means balloon. Langatanga, which means 5. Lachata chaka sachak, which means metal. So any metal. Lachata, but there is but in some case this is also understood as iron, but in some case it's also understood as metal. So it is both metal and iron. So the meaning will be depending on the context of this sentence. So lachatacha ngachang khashimku, which means green. Latatata, so there are two dots. I'll erase one later. Latatata means to see. Another latatata means the view or the which means the view. View in the context of the ultimate view, which is the view of emptiness. So ta. Latatata then means to possess, to have. Then lapatapa, lapatapa kasapak. Pak means skin, ra means goat, so goat skin. Lapatapa wa pawa. Pawa means goiter, that excess skin that happens due to the deficiency of iodine. So pawa. Lahaptala yashim yula yulhayul. Ta means the celestial beings, the devas, and yul is the realm. So it is the realm of the celestial beings. So these are the 10 cases where we have la as the head-joined letter. So ka, kha, nga, cha, ta, tha, pa, pa, ha. And those of you who are unable to pronounce this may directly tell me, and then I will record the particular, or I will record all of the head-joined letters and the subjoined letters and the way you pronounce them. So if you have any doubts on the pronunciation, or if this is the first time for you to pronounce them and you're unable to pronounce them, make sure that you tell me and I will record it and send it, or either share it in the group when I can for the head join and the subjoin letters. Okay, so till this point, now we are done with the classification of consonants. So we studied that the consonants are classified in two types. The first one is classification of consonants in 8 groups with 1/2 group, each group consisting of 4 consonants, except the final group, which consists of only 2 consonants, therefore known as the half a group. So this is the thing that we have learned, and this was done so that the reference that is being given is much easier during the gender science as well as the 30. And the other classification is based on their position in a name, known as the affix morpheme. So leaving out the foundation of name or the name basis, there are 5 different positions that the consonants can have in a name. The first one is the suffix, 10 suffix letters, which comes after the foundation of name or name base. The second one is the post-suffix letters, 2 post-suffix letters, which comes after the suffix letter. The third one is the 5 prefix letters, which comes before the foundation of name. And these 4 are inclusive in their own group. And because the 20 pure foundation of name only functions as the foundation of name or name basis and cannot be used in the other 3 cases, therefore these are known as pure foundation of name. Now, the other 2 affixes, which are exclusive of this group, the first one is the subjoin letter, the ones which joins from the bottom. Yata, rata, lata, and wata, 4 of these consonants can be used as subjoin letters. And then we have the head join letters, which are joined from the top or as a crown. So there are 3, rango, lango, sango. Okay, so till this point we are done with the first unit of the essential teaching of 30, which is the general classification of names. So we're done with the general classification of names. So we started from the vowels, and then we came to consonants. So we're done with the classification of vowels and consonants till this point. So the only thing that you have to do is now to actually understand and to know these different classifications, how they function, what are the function of each classification, the arguments that are made by different scholars on the basis of the classification. One of the most important one, which is based on the vowels, which talks about the 5th non-apparent vowel, the existence of the 5th non-apparent vowel. Okay, so we understood that the school of Tibetan grammar that follows the Sakya Pandita, they strongly vouch for the existence of the 5th non-apparent vowel, which is also the vowel that is being pronounced with each and every one of the consonants. And the school that actually follows either the Tirti Rinpoche or which are more the ones which follows the old translation, as well as the ones who strongly vouch not stated in the actual text of 30. And the other problem that arises with the concept with with the New Translation and the contemporary Tibetan writing grammatical system is the concept of consonant-only sound. So if it is considered to be the vowel, then there is no consonant-only sound there. So therefore, we have also talked about how the scholars resolve this problem with the introduction of the roots letter. So till this point, we are done with the first unit, which is the general classification of basic sounds. So whenever the question is asked, what are the basic classification of general sound? The answer is there are only two types of basic sounds, which is vowel and consonant. And then from there, the question may ask, what is the function of vowel? What are the general classification of vowels? What is the function of the consonant? What is the general classification of the consonant? That's the second question, the follow-up question to that. And then till that point, you can explain everything that you have learned till this point. Okay, now the second unit. Now we're going to understand the second unit. We'll try to finish as much as possible, but let's see how much we can finish today. But if we're unable to finish it today, we'll continue this during the next class. So this is one of the most important. So the general classification of basic sounds is important unit, but it's a unit that doesn't consist a lot of technicality. It's not a unit that consists of a lot of concept as per se. It is more about understanding different types, different numbers, how many, what are the types, and how many of them. So that is the only thing that we have learned under the general classification. And as the heading goes, then it is the name of the unit goes, it is the general classification. So we only talk about the classification. So therefore, there are not a lot of technicality in this particular unit, but the name and words, it's the foundation of everything that you will be learning under this text. From this point onward, there will be more concept and there will be more definition. And the thing is that definitions are the things that you will have to memorize and are very important. So therefore, we'll try to spend as many time as possible with this particular unit, which is name and words. So this is the second unit, after which we will discuss the connective particles, which is the largest portion of this text and which will probably take the most time. But this second unit, it may not be as long as the connective particle, but this is equally significant. And those of you who are currently studying different philosophical schools in Buddhism, especially if you are studying Buddhism to the point where you have reached the Prasangika, this is going to help you immensely in understanding the concept of the valid cognition of terminology. So therefore, very important chapter. So we'll try to spend as much time as possible in this unit. So now, name and words. So the first thing that I'm going to bring in is the exact line from the actual text, that is the 30. So Tumi Sambuddha said, Mingci Jeba Kungi Shi. So Mingci Jeba Kungi Shi. So Ming, which is the name, Cik, which is the word. Jeba, kun. Jeba, which is the statement. Kun means all. So it states that this text is the foundation of this text, the foundation of all statements. And the foundation of all statements are name and words. So, so instead of here, we'll get here. So foundation of all statements. So any statement. So the thing is that it works like this. The smallest element of a statement in Tibetan, the smallest element that makes up a statement is the phonetics, which is the basic sounds that we studied, the vowels and consonant. And especially in consonant, we learn the foundation of names. And the foundation of names are the elementary items or the elementary structure of a statement in Tibetan language, the foundation of names. These are the elementary, these are the smallest functioning structure of Tibetan grammatical statement. And the combination of these consonants with vowels gives us something called either name or word. So a name with a capital N here is a broader category, which consists of two types, which is name with a lowercase. So very sorry, because the thing is that name with the lowercase is not the name with the uppercase. So you see that there are two names. One is the name with the lowercase, and the other one is name with the, so we have name and name, which we will be studying in this text. So there is name with the uppercase and name with the lowercase. So the name with the uppercase is a more broader, it's a more bigger group, under which we have words and name with the smaller or lowercase n. So we will understand that the most elementary or the fundamental structure is the consonants. And then when we combine these consonants with vowels, we have something called name. And name can be a name. So what is a name? So name is considered to be the smallest meaningful lexical item in the Tibetan linguistic system. So it's the smallest grammatical structure that is able to convey a meaning. And we have studied that there are certain names which only have a single foundation of name or single consonant. For example, sa, which means the earth or the ground. They have only a single consonant here, but the single consonant is capable of conveying a meaning by its own. So it is capable of conveying a meaning by its own. So therefore, this becomes a name. So a name can either be formed by consonants, so these are known as consonant-only sound, or it can be formed by the combination of both consonant and vowel. So there are cases where you have both the combination of a consonant and a vowel, and these are called consonant with vowel name. So the consonant-only name are known as someiki. Sok meaning the essence, so essential sound are the vowels. We refer vowels as to be the essential sound. So if we don't have the vowel, it's called the names which are without the essential letter, so someiki. Or we have the essential sound, the name with essential sound, sokjenyi, which are vowel and consonant, combination of vowel and consonant. So for example, we have names such as po, sama, sam. Here we see that we have only consonants in here, no vowel. So these are only consonant sounds. Someiki, pokaka, natane. These are only consonant only sound. Whereas here we see that these are consonant with vowel sounds. So these are consonant with vowel sound. We have a vowel A. We have the vowel U. We have the vowel O. So these are consonant plus vowel sound. So there are only two types of names, which is the word and names with the lowercase. So we must understand that in Tibetan language, a grammatical structure that is capable of conveying a meaning is known as name. So the smallest grammatical structure that is capable of conveying a meaning is called name. And the name is a combination of consonants or combination of consonants with vowel. So any grammatical structure in Tibetan that is combination of vowels or consonants which has a meaning by itself is known as a name. So any term in Tibetan will be considered as name with the capital N or the uppercase N. So there are two types, words and names. So we'll continue this in next class about words and names. Okay, so before we go to question answer, let me just go here and answer the questions for the previous. So I hope you can see this. So this is the previous assignment. So the first question was to identify which affix the highlighted portion belongs to. So some have identified this as the head join letter. Definitely this is the head join letter. But at this point, we weren't introduced to head join letters. So therefore, this becomes the foundation of name. This is the foundation of name. Name base or foundation of name. These are the only two things we're going to use. This is the suffix because this becomes the foundation of name because it has the vowel. So foundation of name. This is the suffix because this becomes the foundation of name because it has the vowel as well as the subjoined letter. So subjoined and head joined letters are only positioned as sub and crown in reference to the foundation of name. So therefore, it is only added to the foundation of name and no other affix. This po dakadak, it's the prefix, post suffix, sanga sesang, post suffix, tausu. This is the foundation of name because we have this wasu or wasur or wata here. This is the foundation of name with the head join letter because it has this is the foundation name for two reasons. One because it has the head join letter, other because it has the vowel foundation of name, and this is the suffix because this is the foundation of name. As we see that we have the vowel here, this becomes suffix. Okay, there are 20 suffix letters. False, there are only 10. So 10. Yangchen Dorje is the author of the text, Tree of Excellent Speech. Yes. Tumi Sambuddha was the scholar who established the current system of Tibetan writing language. True. This has to be true. Irrelevant of the new translation. This has to be true. The two remaining texts of Tumi Sambuddha are 30 and 40. This is false. It's 30 and gender signs. It's gender signs, S-I-G-N-S, signs. The purpose of stating the verse of worship in the beginning of the text is to ward off the obstacles in completion of the text and establish which basket of teaching the text belong to. True. These are the two purposes of writing the verse of worship. Answer the following question. what are the two classification of basic sound? Vowel and consonant. What are the three types of laziness? The laziness of inclination towards non-virtuous actions, laziness of procrastination, laziness due to the lack of self-efficacy or having low self-esteem. One example, so the example is the one which is provided in the material, which is when one is working with the text, in the middle, they may feel that they are incompetent to complete certain texts, or they may have a mental blockage where they're unable to recall anything. And this may lead to a low self-esteem. So this is the laziness due to low self-esteem. What are the three baskets of teaching? The Vinaya basket, the Sutra basket, and the Abhidharma basket. The Vinaya basket, the basket of discipline, that talks about the discipline and vows. The Sutra basket, which talks about the discourse of Buddha, and then the Abhidharma basket, which talks about the ultimate teaching, which is of the wisdom, also known as wisdom basket. So these are the three baskets of teaching. What is the verse of worship in Indian language for the text tree of excellent speech? The verse of worship is Namo Guru Manju Goshaya. O Manjushri, my root guru, I bow down to you in reverence. When was the tradition of including these something in Indian language begin, and what was its purpose? So it was started during the 33rd king of Tibet, Songtsen Gampo, under his instructions and guidance. This was done, and the reason, there are two reasons. First, to include the language in which the Buddha has the teachings of Buddhas have been conserved, so thus to pay homage to Buddha. And second is to tell that the text that was composed by the Tibetan scholars are on par in standard with the ones which were composed by the Nalanda scholars. What is the pledge of composing by the author Yangchen Drubpay? He pledged to state the essential teaching of the 30 in a concise and comprehensive manner. So comprehensive and concise is very important. There are many commentaries which may be comprehensive but are not concise. So this text has two particular qualities, being comprehensive and being concise. Who was the root guru of Yangchen Drubpay? It's Dharmapata, his uncle, Dharmapata. So there is difference between teacher and root guru. So when I say root guru, it's because Yangchen Drubpay took all of his Vajrayana initiations from his uncle. So therefore, root guru. What is the three Indian grammatical texts studied by Yangchen Drubpay? The first one is the Sutra, which is Vyakarana Sutra Kalapa, authored by Kartikeya. Second one is Panini, which is authored by Panini. And the third one is Chandrava, which is authored by Chandragomi. So the ninth, who was the teacher of Timisambhuta when he visited India to study? So one is the Vidyasimha. So you may write that one. Pandit Alharipa Singhe, that's in Tibetan. Then the other one is Tamse Lijinkara, or the Brahman Lijinkara. So both of these are the teachers that Timisambhuta studied under while he was studying in India. So what is the verse of worship in Tibetan language? The verse of worship in Tibetan language is Lama Chota Yermepe Chambe Yangla Kutune. So so Manjushri, who is inseparable or indistinguishable to my root, most excellent, perfect teacher, which is Dharmapata, and viewing both of you inseparable or viewing both of you as one, I prostrate to you in reverence. So this is the answer to the assignment that was given during the last class. Okay, so we covered till this point. So if anyone has questions related to today's, so we won't be able to go with the Musumushi because we still haven't finished this. But once we're done with the words and names, okay. So Timisambuddha is the one who wrote the actual text, the root text. Yangchen Dorje wrote a commentary to that text which we are studying, which is known as the Tree of Excellent Speech. So Timisambuddha is the one who wrote the main text or the source text, which is the 30. So Timisambuddha is also the one who established or who created the current system of Tibetan writing that we're learning. So right now we're using this Tibetan, the writing system we use to write Tibetan language is established or created by Timisambuddha, the 7th century scholar, and one of the 2 great ministers of the 33rd king of Tibet, Songtse Gampo. Yangchen Dorje was a scholar late in the 18th century. So what he did is he wrote a commentary on that text. He was also a very profound scholar, but he wrote the commentary on this text. So the text we're studying is written by Yangchen Dorje. Timisambuddha is the one who wrote the root text to which Yangchen Dorje wrote the commentary, which we are studying at the moment, known as the Tree of Excellent Speech. So 2 texts here. The root text is the 30, and the commentary that we are studying is Tree of Excellent Speech. So yes, so the 30 was written by Timisambuddha. Commentary, which is Tree of Excellent Speech, commentary to 30, Tree of Excellent Speech, was written by Yangchen Dorje. Lasso. So any questions related to today's class? We'll do the Musumushi in the later class. It will come, and you will enjoy it very much because we're not only going to do it with Musumushi, we're going to understand Musumushi by the use of something called the Venn diagram. So it's interesting. Lasso. So any more questions regarding today's lesson? So does anyone have more questions regarding today's lesson?
So Tanzila, does name always make some meaning, or it can be something which in itself doesn't have a meaning?
So this is actually a very good question because we'll understand that when we, so the name with the capital N, even though it is described as a structure that has a meaning by its own, so it may have it has a meaning by its own self, but yes, when we talk about words, words are typically, words have certain types which may not be considered to having a meaning by themselves. For example, the connective particles are words and they don't have a meaning by themselves. But when they're added with another name, they tend to have a meaning. So therefore, name with the capital N, in a general sense, has a meaning. But yes, if you want to be very precise, the name may not always have a meaning by its own self, and that is when it becomes that is in a case where it is not just where when it is not just a name, which is the name with lowercase n, but word. But the name with the lowercase n, this will always have a meaning. This will always have a meaning by itself. There's no case where it's a lowercase n and it doesn't have a meaning. But the word, which is also a name with the capital N, definitely they have certain type which doesn't have a meaning by its own self. There are types where they have to be added with another word to bring out meaning. Yes, so this is the edited version. So please download this one. So yes, so in conclusion, names with the capital N may not always have a meaning by itself. But in a general explanation, you have to say that it has a meaning by itself.
Will we be doing this in more detail, like the difference between a name with capital N and name with?
Yes. So this is where we will be studying words and names in. So this will come when we will. So this will be the topic of our class for probably a few weeks from now. So from the next class to few weeks, this will be the topic of our class, which will be words and names, and we will understand what each of these are and how this, which is with the lowercase n, is different with this, which is with the uppercase n. So that would be the subject of our analysis for a few weeks now. So we will learn in depth. So this particular unit, which is the second part of this text, we're going to spend a very good amount of time trying to discuss, and there will be points where we will have to make debates upon this. We will have certain arguments related to this, and then we will have to figure out how each and every one of these function and what are the differences, where the differences arise. So yes, we're going to learn this in detail. Lasso. So does anyone have questions regarding today's lesson? So please remember that the ones we have done till this point, there is no other tricks that I can teach you. You will have to study these and get this into your system, these things. So there is no other techniques that I can teach you. These are just simple types where you can use particular case. So these are just simple cases where particular type of affix is used. So the only thing you can do is learn the definition. What are the types? How does it function? Meaning, how does it sound? How does it sound? What are the types? And how many of the types? That's it till this point. But from this point, definitely there will be many concepts that I will be teaching to make it easier to understand. So this is not to make you feel, it is not to instinct a fear in you, but from this point onward, there will be many more technicality and many more concepts. And not only the people who are learning Tibetan, foreigners, also the native people, they get, so for them also, including me, the more of the pain starts from here. But the thing is that once you understand the concept, it's actually very simple. So therefore, I encourage you from this point onward to make your own notes on whatever I'm saying here and to raise as much questions as possible. From this point onward, your analysis, your ability to analyze should be on 100%, and you should try to question me on each and everything that I say from this point. Because from this point, everything will more or less depend on logical aspect of things. So make sure that you are ready to question me on each and every. If I'm saying something that's unnecessary and that feels extra in something, you have to directly confront me from this point on and ask me questions. So the more questions you ask, the better it will be for you from this point. So therefore, from this point onward, we're going to tackle the actual concept of this text. So therefore, it's not to scare you. It's just a humble reminder that now things are going to get in more details. Things are going to be a little bit more difficult than the previous classes. So thank you. So Lasso, so please do that. So any questions? If we don't have any questions, then we'll call it a day today, and we will pick it. We will continue on Monday. So does anyone have questions? And you will have assignments for today also. So assignments are very vital part of the course that we are doing. Remember, this course that you are taking on the commentary, which is on the 30, that the Tree of Excellent Speech, it's not an easy course that you're taking. So if you feel sometimes that there's just too much to learn, understand that there is too much to learn. And that me trying to finish this in 1.5 years, which is something that I'm thinking, or 1 year, if we go a little bit crazy, it's a feat that is very amendable, which is very commendable in its own rights. You see, normally we study this, normally for us, we studied this in a span of 5 years. So therefore, understand that I'm teaching what I have learned. So with this and other texts, for this particular commentary, for me, I have studied it for 13 years. And I'm trying to teach the entire 13 years in 1.5 years. So therefore, there will be things which sometimes may feel overwhelming. Remember to use me when those time comes and ask me questions. Doesn't matter when you ask it, ask questions and you'll get the answers. And it will be so much better for you when you ask questions from this point onwards. So I guess this is it for today. So we will call it a day today, and we'll continue this on Monday. And the assignments will be given tomorrow. And please listen to the recording sent to the group. If you feel the recordings are too fast, even the slower one is too fast, just tell me, and I will record the one which is even more slower than this. So so that you can listen and memorize. And yes, Svetala has given me a wonderful idea, that is to break the particular text into small portion, and then read it in those small portions. So this is something that I will do. And the other thing is that starting from next week, we will dedicate 10 minutes of the class to memorization text. So whatever portion that has been read, I will be taking test personally. So the thing is, I will assign a number and randomly generate a number and choose the person. And then for the 10 minutes, you will have to read the text to me. And most probably, let's make sure that you do it without looking at the text. So this is something that is something that I want to tell you before time. So please memorize. So in the span of 1.5 years, we want to memorize everything. So very sorry, I know, but memorizing the text, if you memorize the text and understand everything you learn in this span of 1 year, the moment you start reading, the moment you start speaking the things that you have memorized, you will connect this with the concept that you learn here. So this text will always be with you for your entire life, until and unless you have the text memorized. the entire thing that you're going to learn in a year or a year and a half will be there with you. You'll just say like, oh, for example, then you will remember everything related to the suffix letters. So this is something that will be very helpful for you. So this is it for today. And yes, from next week onwards. So please be ready from next week. And so this is it for today. And I will see every one of you on Monday. Please revise, please memorize. And if you have questions, ask it to me directly, and I'll try to help you as much as possible. So this is it for today. And so I wish you all a good evening and Tashitele, and I'll